All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today's July 8th, 2021. It's Thursday. Market's having a nice down day today. We had a little bit of a sell this morning, some chop, and then we ultimately held the 428 level, rallied back up, faded back a little bit in the PM session, and now we're kind of getting a bit of a bounce here as we are about to close. Now I see the white trend line here on my screen. That is the trend line, the lower trend line I've been talking about for a while. This is now, it's pretty damaged. It's either going to break really soon or it's something that we're just going to disregard. And what I mean by that is you've traded through it too much. You had this tag here and we kind of broke through it there. And then we did do technical damage here a few weeks ago. And now we traded through it once more, and it looks like the markets are going to hold this trend line. In fact, that's right where we found support right into the final 10-15 minutes of the day here as markets are bouncing. And yeah, so by the dip coming in a little bit as expected, although a little bit more neutral of a close for me. And that's because typically when we see these buy the dippers come in on these gap downs, usually we'll see the market rally up like it did. We might get a little bit of chop, and then usually it just rallies right back up. But today getting a little bit of a fade, so a little bit of distribution going on perhaps. Again, we won't make too much out of it unless we see some sort of follow through. But the VXX is holding up nicely though. Dollar a little bit softer today than expected for as much of a down day as we've had. But again, still holding up and still in an uptrend here in the near term. Semis a little bit, so tech was stronger, but semis a little bit lagging behind. You can see the triple Qs here with this nice V-shaped recovery, and the semis kind of with a more of a rolling sort of recovery, and they're kind of just flattish. So we'll keep an eye on that because semis are a leading indicator. IWM holding this pivot now, for now at least. We did make a lower low, though. It probably wants to go down and retest this trend line at some point, though, given the fact that you made a lower low through this. Now, the trend line I really want to talk about here is on the Dow Industrials, Dow Jones Industrial Average. So obviously, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now. Tagged it here, tagged it there, broke through it. But now what we have is potentially 3 lower highs. See 1, 2, and 3. And my question is, do we make a third lower low? I mean, technically this is a third lower low, but this one's so close to this pivot, we'll kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. But do we come back down? And if we do we break that 100 moving average and do we make a lower low, maybe around 33,000? That to me would be a pretty bearish indicator, at least for the industrials. I don't know about the rest of the market, but 3 lower highs, 3 lower lows consecutively like that would signal some trouble for the market, in my opinion. Also, take a look at the Dow Transports. This is a pretty nasty chart here. We're through the 100, through this trend line as well, and it looks like it's going to want to come down and tag this 14.3, 14.2 area. You have this gap fill and this, which was a previous breakout area. If it gets through that, you come down and you probably test 13.9 or so, and then you have like these little mini support areas all the way. You've got the 13.9 there, and then you've got the 13.6, 13.7, and then the 200 moving average coinciding with that. But right now, it looks like the transports want to come down and test this area. We did get much better volume today. As you can see, notice the volume increase. And then again, volume dipping down as the market rallies up. So is that institutions selling in the morning with the high volume and then retail buying this dip? And then a little bit of an increase in volume as the market's chopped around and rolled over. Again, could be some distribution going on. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, overall markets, you got to give them the upside bias till we see follow through, a high volume reversal like today. But if we see follow through and we see a lower low on the chart, that's when we know that we're going to see a real correction here. I said on Twitter, if we rolled over and we closed near the lows today, then that would probably signal a correction is in order. But as you can see, markets recovering a little bit as we go into the close here. It would just be it's likely just day traders short covering at this point, as they obviously couldn't break through this level of chop that we had earlier. See if there's anything else. Yeah, the Chinese stocks taking a hit. There's a lot of bad news coming out of China. The government's talking about regulations. Alibaba getting whacked pretty hard today. And that's going to put the rest of the sector on under some pressure. It does have a little bit of support here, but this is minor. This 200 moving average is minor because you've consolidated above it. Baidu under a little bit of pressure, although chart's looking a little bit better than Baidu, or than Alibaba, excuse me. It may decide to hold this level. If it does, you know, it could be a bear trap, and these things could reverse. I did add to my double Y Joy Inc. today. I like the 7 candles down there, believe it or not. And this is a lot of support in here. There's a lot of support in here. And I did add to IQ as well. IQ holding this little gap area. This has a potential to be a nice bounce play too. I have my average just under 14 now, so looking pretty good. Markets are closed now. But ultimately, yeah, I'm buying into the fear on China. However, we may have some short-term pressure going on. I do think the Chinese markets are where you kind of want to be over the next 3 to 6, maybe even longer than that, months out, as money leaves the U.S. But anyway, yeah, so nice little short squeeze into the close there. But overall, a fairly bearish pattern here, or fairly neutral close, I should say. On the SPY, given that we did have that little bit of a rollover towards the end. And again, let's check the diamond here. Yeah, diamond looking a little bit softer. This is the Dow Jones ETF, and IWM kind of closing neutral as well. Gold actually held up pretty well all day long. Did finish just slightly negative here on the futures, although that's got a little bit of time in the day before that happens. The GLD slightly negative there, but did hold up very nicely and did show a little bit of strength, so that's good. And then crude getting a little bit of a bounce here. Not a surprise. He had 2 big down days, so not surprising to see it bounce a little bit there. But anyways, we'll keep an eye on everything, and as you guys know, I'll update you if I hear about anything moving forward. All right, guys, take care and have a great rest of your day.